Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
The biggest sale of the year is happening right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. For a limited time, make no payments for 90 days on every new Honda. That's right, you choose and make no payments for 90 days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello and welcome as we start the very first Clarence Bug Show of 2023. Here's hoping your New Year's is off to a roaring start here in South Louisiana. We start today's show talking about what is easily, in my lifetime, the best college bowl season ever. Oh my goodness, it has been absolutely magical to watch. And I never thought that I would, in my lifetime of broadcasting, be able to say this. How about them greenies? Oh my God, the Tulane Green Wave. They are going to be talking about the 2022 Cotton Bowl for decades. Coming out from behind, 46-45 winners over the vaunted/hated Trojans of USC. Just goes to show you, in this new age of the transfer portal, the new age of the coaching carousel, how things can change from year to year, month to month, day to day. Awesome, awesome job. Tulane, you did Louisiana proud. And speaking of, how about them? Can't say it without saying them Tigers. Oh, that was a beat down of biblical proportions. The only thing that could have made it just a little bit better is if the Tigers defense would have kept that one touchdown off the board. I know, I'm nitpicking, but being a diehard Tiger fan, there's just something about 63-0 versus 63-7 that, you know, if you gotta be a nitpicker, that's it. LSU, Brian Kelly, tip of the hat to you fellas. Absolutely awesome job. Meanwhile, in other Louisiana news, irony is a funny thing. If you were with us last week, the one show that we did last week, in talking about Louisiana news, I mentioned the fact that we averted very narrowly a horrific tragedy when a 19-year-old was clocked trying to evade police at 130 miles an hour on the interstate and in traffic. I mentioned at the time that a 19-year-old does not have the driving experience, unless you grew up in a stock car racing family, to handle a vehicle at those speeds. It is a tragic irony that less than a week after making that statement, we have the tragic death yet again from a high-speed chase that leaves 2 innocent girls dead and one of their brothers clinging to life. 17-year-old Maggie Dunn, 16-year-old Carolyn Gill, both succumbing to injuries from this horrific crash. Both of them, by the way, cheerleaders at Bruley High School, and from all accounts had a very, very bright future ahead of them. Liam, the brother, is a freshman at ULL and is fighting for his life. Tyquel Zanders, the perpetrator in this high-speed chase, arrested, and Addis police officer David Carthron arrested for his role in the crash. According to law enforcement and eyewitness accounts, he ran a red light in pursuit of Mr. Zanders, some estimate some 20 seconds after the light had changed, slamming into the vehicle that was carrying these 3 young people. At the end of the day, y'all, something's got to be done about this. This shows in very graphic terms, one, what a thankless job law enforcement has. Many people have expressed concern that since it was only a property crime, that there was a better way to handle this. I am not equipped to debate this. It is something that we have seen with increasing and alarming regularity. The number of people that are willing to demonstrate in no uncertain terms that they have come to the conclusion that the law applies to everyone but them, and they are willing to endanger the entire innocent motoring public because the law does not apply to them, is troublesome. There will be calls for the Louisiana legislature and maybe even some local governments to change the laws regarding high-speed pursuits. That is something for the legislative process to address. Now, y'all know me. As a diehard conservative, I am one that believes in less government intrusion in our lives. But when we have individuals that make no bones about demonstrating in no uncertain terms that they don't care about the laws that govern a civilized society, they don't care about anyone's safety, innocent motorists, and even themselves for that matter, we have got to do something to rein this in. We need to make sure that those that engage in such reckless behavior as this are held to a standard that will make people, force them to think twice about their actions. Now listen, I get it, y'all. I understand full well that there will always probably be folks that don't care what the law says. But it's our responsibility to set an example for the next miscreant that may consider doing what this clown did. When all is said and done, this should be a time where these families are thinking about what lies ahead for the new year. These families should be celebrating the accomplishments of what by all accounts were some marvelous young people. They should not be planning funerals. They should not be hoping and praying that the young man in serious condition, young Mr. Liam, survives. I understand full well that you cannot legislate morality. I get it. What's the old saying? You can't fix stupid, but you can sure as hell give it a court date. Y'all, this is getting totally and completely out of hand. And unless we, the public, stand up and demand better, never forget the line from, I think it was the very first Batman movie. Criminals thrive on the indulgence of society. Just when you thought we as Americans couldn't get any more selfish, just when you thought we as Americans could not sink to a point where we are willing to endanger the lives of innocent people for something that in the grand scheme of things you caused, and if you were any sort of decent human being, much less a man, you would stand up and face the consequences of your actions. It should be painfully obvious by now that there are more and more people with every passing day that fall into that category. We can't fix that. That's something that has to be fixed at home. But we can, and we owe it to ourselves to make sure that the next time it happens, the penalty will be stiff enough and severe enough that maybe, just maybe, the next criminal will think twice before attempting it. It is the first show of 2023, segment 2. And boy, when we come back, we have a gangbuster to start off the New Year's edition of Now That's Just Stupid. That's next when we continue this week's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345.
The season of inspiration is the perfect time to discover the enhanced Mazda CX-5, named a 2022 IIHS Safety Pick Plus Award winner, its highest safety award honor. Choose from over 45 CX-5s available at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, gang. Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to the first 2023 edition of the Clarence Buggs Show. A little bit of housekeeping. Thank you, Marty. Good to be here. A little bit of housekeeping before we get into the whopper of all whoppers. Now that's just stupid. Got to say hello to a young man that I found out is a big-time fan of the show. When I say young man, a high school young man. Baylor Graves, basketball and football player at Catholic High here in Baton Rouge, is the son of Mitch Small, who also is a big fan of the show. He turned young Baylor onto the show, and it's my understanding now that Baylor Graves is one of our biggest fans. Love you, young man. Love you, young man. You are doing something right. Keep it up and help spread the word. I'd appreciate it sincerely. If you're a newcomer to the show, you may not be aware that in just watching what's unfolding in our country and around the world for that matter, but particularly here in the good old US of A, in response to the ever-growing level of stupidity, we've instituted a segment entitled, "Now That's Just Stupid." Now you see the graphic on screen. It is not spelled the regular S-T-U-P-I-D. The level of stupidity we're talking about here requires its own spelling. S-T-O-O-P-I-D, as in, now that's just stupid. We start 2023, as I guess we should, with one of the all-time stupid moves in history. over the holidays, Congress passed the $1.7 trillion omnibus bill. $1.7 trillion that we don't have. $1.7 trillion that young Baylor Graves and his children's children will be stuck paying for. So after passing this monstrosity of wasteful spending, as the law requires, the president has to sign the bill. The deadline for signing said bill was December 30th. President Joe Biden was scheduled to leave for vacation in the Virgin Islands one day after the deadline. Actually, forgive me, one day before the deadline. So what did he do? Well, let's see. At that time, half of the country was suffering through the worst blizzard probably in my lifetime. People literally were freezing to death. But what did Joe Biden do? He got on Air Force One and flew to the beach in the Virgin Islands to play golf and sit on the beach and soak up some rays. So what about signing the $1.7 trillion omnibus bill? Y'all forgive me, but I gotta say it. You know what this jackass did? They put the bill on a jet and flew it from Washington, D.C. to the Virgin Islands so he could sign it and then put it back on the bill, on the plane, and flew it back home at your expense. Did I mention in this $1.7 trillion waste of your money, there are billions of dollars to, wait for it, fight climate change? Billions and billions and billions of dollars to help us reduce our carbon footprint. Do you have any idea how much carbon was jettisoned into the atmosphere to fly paper from Washington, D.C. to the Virgin Islands for a signature and then turn right around and fly it back? And as if that weren't bad enough, they charged you for it. You see what they think of us? Well, we got to save the planet. It's for the children. We got to reduce our carbon footprint. But in the midst of the worst blizzard in decades, you jet your sorry behind off to the beach in the Virgin Islands and then charge the American taxpayers to fly paper to where you are so you can sign it and then fly it back, when all you had to do was sit your sorry behind at home for one more day and sign the freaking bill. Are you kidding me? But we got to save the planet. We got to reduce the carbon footprint. You see how they play you? You see what they really think about you? Can you say entitlement? People were literally freezing to death. And you couldn't sit your sorry behind in the White House for one more day to help these folks, because you got to go sit on the beach and stay, by the way, at the home of one of your biggest Democrat donors. But that's another story for another day. The Daily Mail, after finding out about this spitting in the face of the American taxpayer, started looking at how many days Joe Biden has vacationed in 2 years. After adding up the trips to Camp David, to the residences in Delaware, to Nantucket, to the Virgin Islands, the Daily Mail reports Joe Biden has been on vacation 38.5% of his presidency. You heard me right. According to their estimates, this man has been on vacation right at 40% of the time that he's been president. Of course, now, I guess that should be understandable, because it's not like, I don't know, it's not like we got a supply chain crisis. I mean, it's not like people are coming across our border illegally by the millions. It's not like crime is exploding all across the country. Why the hell not go on vacation? It's not like record numbers of Americans are dying from fentanyl in the country. It's not as though parents can't get medication for their kids in the middle of flu season. It's not like people are dropping dead mysteriously, suddenly, SADS, by the thousands. It's not like, you know, any of this stuff is happening. Everything's hunky-dory. Why the hell not? Take off 40% of the time you've been in office on vacation. You see what this guy thinks of you? You see what Democrats think of you? And this from the most transparent administration in history. This clown couldn't stay at the White House one extra day in the midst of the biggest blizzard in our lifetime. He leaves, flies to the beach in the Virgin Islands, and they say, well, Mr. President, you need to sign this $1.7 trillion bill, money that we don't have, by the way. Oh, what the hell? Put it on an airplane, send it over to the beach, let the American taxpayer pay for it. That ain't transparent, that's stupid. Those of you that voted for this clown, you deserve what you're getting. The problem is, we're all suffering from it. You owe the American public a very sincere apology for putting in office a bunch of clowns. Southwest Airlines, Pete Buttigieg, Transportation Secretary, was warned this summer about what was going to happen come winter. And where did he go on vacation? Clean out the country.
That's smart.
But they care about you. And they care about saving the planet. That's why we're going to spend billions and billions and billions of your dollars to reduce our carbon footprint. And to make it happen, we're going to fly the bill on a jet to the Virgin Islands so he can sign it and then fly it back at your expense. I might have been born at night, but it sure as hell wasn't last night. I see this for exactly what it is. Hopefully, you're starting to figure it out too. Bottom of the hour break. We'll come back and talk more with you. Speaking of government and how things have gotten totally out of control. That's next when we continue the first 2023 edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. Premier Pest.
You could be driving. Now's the time to save on new Accords during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana, I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the first edition of the Clarence Bugg Show for 2023. You know, as we get older as Americans, if our educational upbringing had a solid foundation, particularly as it pertains to American history, we collectively, hopefully, should get a greater and greater appreciation for the wisdom of the founding fathers. They, in crafting this representative republic, were wise to the point of defying description. Two things come to mind after seeing this story this morning. George Washington is quoted famously for saying, "The last act of government is to raid the treasury." I forget, and forgive me, whether the quote should be attributed to Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson, that said, "Democracies fail when people learn they can vote themselves raises." In recent memory, if you've been paying attention at all, you know what shape the state of New York is in. Crime going through the roof. Cost of living astronomical. Drug use, overdose deaths, almost incomprehensible. And more people, in conjunction with the state of California, are fleeing than ever before. They've had enough of what's going on in the Big Apple. You ever, as a kid, pick up an apple and that puppy is just as shiny and pretty on the outside, and you take a big bite and you look at it and you immediately spit it out? There's a worm in the apple, or it's rotten. That's what's happening in New York. So what did the incoming governor do one day before her inauguration? She signed a bill that was passed by the Democrat-controlled, with a supermajority in both houses of the New York State Legislature, giving themselves a $30,000 a year raise. Now, this is the same state that before giving themselves a $30,000 a year raise was already the highest paid legislature in all 50 states. $110,000 a year. So what was the rationale in adding 30,000 to the 110,000 a year that they were already making? Well, according to the Speaker of the House there, and I quote, "People don't understand the sacrifices we make by being away from our families." So apparently, everybody in America that goes to work takes their families with them, because according to them, being away from your family to go and do work entitles you to a $30,000 a year raise. Do you know how many people in this country would die to make $30,000 a year? That's aside from the $110,000 that they were already making. And you wonder why people are fleeing Democrat-run cities and states in record numbers. Now, for the record, I get it. I understand. I'd get the hell out of there too. But here's the problem. You better wake up, y'all, and watch and see where these clowns are moving to. Because they will bring with them the same idiotic liberal principles that destroyed the places where they were living. California, we don't want you here. You keep that crap where you are. You managed to destroy that state. You managed to tear down what was at one time a shining, wonderful place to live. Now, I was going to say, take a drive, just go to YouTube and look at what's happening in LA. Go to YouTube or take a drive, if you can, and look at what's happening in San Francisco. Look at what's happening in Portland, in Seattle, in St. Louis, in Newark, in Detroit, in Chicago, in New York. Apparently, they're of the opinion, by God, it's the American way that when you do a great job, you deserve a raise. People are fleeing that place in record numbers. Why? Because those who are running the ship are doing a horrible job. But apparently, doing a horrible job entitles you to a 30% raise in pay. Must be a hell of a job if you can get one. And the sad thing is these clowns feel as though it's warranted. This is why you cannot afford to be asleep at the wheel. Because it's people that vote for idiots like this. When stuff hits the fan, they want to flee and come live where you live. We don't want you here, bruh. You keep that crap and that foolishness where you are. You voted for it, now you deal with it. We don't want you here. We got enough problems of our own without bringing in idiots like you. $30,000 raise. But wait, you said they were making $110,000. Yeah. So now they're making $140K. Not to mention the fact that they pretty much only work 6 months a year. The rest of the time is spent on ribbon cutting, photo ops, patting each other on the back, and wasting more of the taxpayer dollars. I guess you could make the argument, however, that, Clarence, don't be so hard on him. It takes a lot of work to waste that much money. You got to work hard to screw up the #1 city at one time on the entire planet. You can't just do that, without some effort and some energy. It takes work to screw up like this. So yeah, we deserve a raise. I say again, George Washington famously said, the last act of government is to loot the treasury. Now, if I were to read between the lines on this, looking at what's happening there, looking at what is happening with the federal government, 31 trillion in debt and counting, we may well be witnessing the end of government as we know it. Some would make the argument, Clarence, it's already passed. Never in my lifetime did I think that we would allow stuff like this to happen. Of course, now, when you indoctrinate people, when you dumb them down, and you give away, quote, free stuff, this typically is what happens. There's a commercial I saw this weekend for this program that reimburses businesses for money spent to stay open during the height of the pandemic. We will reimburse you for the taxes you paid to employees to stay open. And in the commercial, with a big old graphic on the screen, it says, apply now to receive free government money. For those of you idiots out there that still don't know, there's no such thing as free government money. The government has no money. They don't make a single thing that you put on a shelf and sell for a profit. The only money that government has is the money they get by sticking their grubby little fingers in the pockets of working people and taking it at the penalty of law. There is no such thing as free government money. But that's the problem. And that, my friends, is why we find ourselves where we find ourselves. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and we wrap up the first of 2023 edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back for the final segment of Amy is Mixing a Bar, a drink behind the bar. Thank you, Amy. Love you too, darling. The entire sports world and all of America was stunned last night on Monday Night Football as Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills collapsed and suffered a, quote, cardiac event live on Monday Night Football. There, if you've been paying attention at all, have been more and more and more and more and more and more and more to the tune of thousands of people since the advent of the COVID shot that have suddenly dropped dead. Now, let me say for the record, I have no information one way or the other on whether or not this man in the prime of his life was vaccinated and or boosted. But the conversation, y'all, is long overdue. So much so that if you've been paying attention, you know that the media has gone out of its way to not report on the tens of thousands of people that are suddenly and mysteriously dying. They've even come up with a new term: excess mortality. You hear vaccine proponents say, well, people have always died suddenly. Yes, they have. But what they don't tell you is that throughout recent decades, the number of people that die suddenly, totally healthy, normal people, has remained, with minor exceptions, stable. Because the fact of the matter is, totally healthy young people don't just suddenly die. So now, excess mortality, people just dying suddenly, has gone through the roof. For those of you that think the COVID shot is safe and effective, I ask you to consider this. When did all of this excess mortality start? I'll tell you exactly when it started. Here's a clue. Psst. Next. Psst. Next. Oh, you here for the booster? That line over there. It started exactly when we started putting this stuff in people. The stuff that, by the way, the manufacturers were given 70 years before they have to tell us what's in it. The same people that if you prove this vaccine killed your loved one, they are immune from prosecution for the next 70 years. Over the last 80 years, we've averaged 69 people, athletes in the prime of life, the healthiest people on the planet, suddenly dying every year. 69. 1 year after the vaccines started being administered, well over 1,000 totally healthy, in the prime of life athletes gone. An interesting study was done in the Philippines. Their vaccine rollout was delayed. They had problems getting it. When they got it, they started the process of putting it in people. Their excess mortality started late, just like the vaccine did. Connect the freaking dots. You're not stupid, bad, or are you? Connect the dots. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And I ain't talking about the app. My time's up, and I gotta go. But this day, definitely, more than any other, I give it to you. You know what? You're right. America, we ain't perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. You know the good Lord loves you, and you know I do too. Best news is, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. We'll see you soon. Me and Amy. God bless.